About 2 weeks ago, precisely on the 31st of July 2023, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu addressed Nigerians for the second time since his assumption as the Grand Commander of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in a special broadcast on the state of the economy. The president had appealed to Nigerians to look beyond the present temporary pains and bear with him as he takes hard but necessary steps towards repositioning the country with the unfolding of interventions by his administration to cushion the effect of fuel subsidy removal. Encapsulated in the intervention programs are industrial reforms, expansive agricultural programs, ease of transportation, and review of workers' salary, among others. Fast forward to Thursday. The federal government has started fulfilling its promise to Nigerians with the announcement of 5 billion naira palliative to the 36 states of the Federation to reduce the effect of the subsidy removal. The decision emanating from the meeting of Nigeria's highest economic advisory body, the National Economic Council, NEC, chaired by the Vice President Kashim Shettima, also set up an ad hoc committee to engage with the leadership of the labor unions on how best to chart a formidable dialogue for results. Recall, following the hike in the price of petrol, the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) and the Trade Union Congress (TUC) embarked on a nationwide protest on the 2nd of August 2023. The committee, therefore, is expected to liaise with the leadership of labor unions to find a way forward on the emerging issues. But beyond this, the cheering news of palliatives is no doubt one that would bring relief, especially also with the release of 5 tracts of rice to each state. But the question is, how will the process be implemented for the benefit of Nigerians at the subnationals? And what level of compliance to this directive are we expecting to see? This is our focus on Nigeria today. Thanks for joining us. I am your carrier, Clinton. Joining me to discuss NEC on palliatives to states is Abdullahi Jallo, a lawyer and also a public affairs analyst. Welcome to Nigeria Today. Yes,
Nkera. Welcome our viewers and presenters.
Always a pleasure having you, sir.
Yes, Nkera. Yes, thank you very much for this regards.
Also joining us is Ogbonna Okuko, an investment and economic development expert. Glad you could join us.
All right, thank you so much for having me.
I'll start with you, Ogbonna. The announcement of the 5 billion naira to states to lessen the effect of, of the fuel subsidy removal, it has continued to generate mixed reactions. What do you think about the development?
First things first, you need to look at a few things. That's number one would be there's this trust deficit that already exists in the atmosphere, in the whole system. So, I mean, a government coming out to say, I want to do this. We've had history, we're coming from a very, we have a hangover of, promises that were never fulfilled. And then, people always feel that when these things come up, there are always ways where, people up there always, corner these things to themselves and their cronies. But I mean, for the first time now, I mean, the president have said, okay, after the meeting he had with the states said, yes, we have a social register that was developed, hand in hand with the World Bank and the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs. They are not, for them, they feel it's not enough. We should be part of the entire process. So now the funds will be distributed through the states because the same register are all domiciled in states. So now people will be the state governors will be the ones managing these funds and the distribution of these funds, and then the federal government will, of course, will oversee. But the real thing is, if development comes from down up, is actually better. But I mean, it's just like I said, people should just let's let's be a bit relaxed and see how the distributions will go.
Okay.
And then when subsequently we can actually, you know, distill more about some of the things that lead to, you know, people not feeling the effect of some of these palliatives.
Okay. Well, I'll stop you right there and allow Abdullahi to react on this development, the 5 billion naira announcement by NEC, and of course approved for the state governors, you know, to distribute.
Well, I'm not an economic expert like my colleague. I'm a lawyer, but honestly, when I heard that the president has given 5 billion naira to each state, I became amazed. I'm thinking Buhari has come back.
Why?
My contention is, if you multiply 5 billion in Kera by 36 states, is 180 billion, which is equivalent to about $20 million. This money is enough to repair our Port Harcourt refineries. Any foreign company that you call, this is $20 million, please repair our refineries, they can quickly do that.
But there are plans to do that.
I'm coming.
Okay.
You don't repeat mistake on a mistake in Kera. The issue is, I thought the government is carrying along the labor and right-thinking people, like during the time of Obasanjo, Ayo Ashintokun, Philip Aduda, and the rest. They should have advised the government instead of giving the... Okay, let me just come to you. We look at it from doing something realistic, tangible and intangible. If this money, besides what I said about the refineries, you take this money and say, okay, we are going back to the period of Shuapi. In Kera, from your house in Makado, anything, get buses, allow people to be, the government to take the money to be filling the buses, and people to be take from maybe Mararaba, coming to Abuja free. And if I come here free in a bus and I can do a business of 10,000 and go back, I will feed my family. But the point is, taking this money, I'm not in dispute with what the government has done by giving it to the governors. But in Kera, you should know this very clearly, that this money will be favored to political followers in each state. And I'm not saying it will not be judiciously used, but at least there need to be a change of plan. We have been given money. Like the time when I came here, you asked me about the other time, constituency projects, the money were used in a certain way. So the same thing this time around. When you sang this huge amount of money, you cannot see the benefit.
Well, Abdullahi, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. There's a new government, so we're expecting something different, and surely something different. Now, during the address of the president in July, okay, he indicated that staple foods will be made available and affordable. And during the short and immediate terms, do you think the provision of the 5 trucks of rice to each state will be effectively monitored?
Yes, it comes back to the same thing. Having the structure to distribute amongst people within the state. Sometimes, you know, it's a bit tricky because the governors, you know, will always have a channel where some of these distributions can be done through the local government, maybe the ward system, you know, the ward structure that they all have. That's why sometimes when they sound like this, you know, I understand where Barrister is coming from. You know, when you hear ward system, the ward, so the first thing that comes to mind is actually the political ward. No, but we also have INEC ward, you know, so some of this will be just a structure to divide and make sure that these things get to the people that need it. But the real thing is, there is a register domiciled in each of the states in Nigeria, which was collated, you know, with the support from the World Bank. So if it's whether we know the poor people, yes, we know we have over 21.8 million, you know, poor people, you know, household in Nigeria. So if you do, let's say 4 person per home, So so you can actually do the math. So we'll have over 50.1 or 51 million poor people. So the distribution can actually be done if we use proper, statistics and distribution channels. So my take will be the people should actually hold the governors accountable, because as soon as they came out from NEC and these things where, the president decided to honor, his commitment and then push these things to the state. So I think everybody should start looking at the state. If you don't get yours, you should be able to, who to direct your questions to.
Oh, okay, Jalo, no, I know you have mentioned. I know you've mentioned the fact that over time in the past we've had issues of trust, with either politicians and the rest of them. But however, we're looking for the way forward. Now, in what ways can the process be, done to enable, transparency?
Well, you see, in every situation one gets himself. What one will contemplate is to measure which way may be a better option. But the better option here is, let's go to olden days period where things have been successfully done. Previously, within our time and the time that has passed by our brothers, we use cooperative societies. In every village there is a member of a cooperative society. And these cooperative societies are all over the country. So if the committee constituted by NEC can do anything, we have two organs to use those. If you need these things to go to the downtrodden people, irrespective of political leaning, i.e., all farmers association, genuine organizations, particularly cooperative societies, and the federal government should involve a serious machinery for supervision, i.e., ICPC, EFCC, DSS. Because I could remember when my governor assigned somebody in Gombe to distribute fertilizer. Already DSS were taking care during Buhari's time. And they wrote their position up to the chief of staff. So if the federal government would supervise it properly, meaning beside this institution that existed, there is going to be, at least the state governors should be advised, please, let's have a trust fund. People that have integrity, people that are not after money. Because in every state capital, there are people of integrity. And the governor will say, okay, I have constituted 2 or 3 persons. Please, let's hear all the local governments. This right of the federal government has residual. But the question is, rice is not a common food for a common man. And its attraction would easily bring a lot of interest. But we should pray that the governors, by the trust given by the president, let them do the needful. At least Nigerians are suffering.
Okay. Thank you very much. It is still Nigeria Today. Let's pause for a break now and listen to what Nigerians are saying concerning the decision on palliatives to state, as packaged by our correspondent, Patricia Esami Nduba.
Every economy drives on that, transportation. And again, instead of taking money or buying food for people, if education is free, if government can provide means of transportation, then I believe it will really reduce the burden on the people.
They should create job opportunity, create sectors that have died before should pick up industrialize Nigeria and people can get jobs.
If government can provide necessary buses along the locality, it will help a lot. The poor masses are suffering as a result of this increment of fuel. Everything go times 10 of what we are using before.
Well, I don't want to sound pessimistic. I am of the belief that if properly managed, they can effectively deliver.
How many people will have access to these palliatives? We have people in the grassroots there that are gossiping. They don't know. They don't have access to the road. So it is a system where we have to sit down and look at it holistically and devise way of either subsidizing this thing and then put in our best. Make sure that the refinery kick up, we start producing fuel, and then automatically we eliminate the effect of oil subsidy.
Welcome back. This is still Nigeria Today, and we are still talking about the decision of NEC on palliatives to state. And my guests are still here with me, two gentlemen. Now, when you heard the reaction of people on the street, a lot of people are, a lot of people are really not keen about this whole thing. So, what's your take on that?
You see, it's simply, there's some things it's actually when you do the math that it begins to make a lot of sense, and then you begin to think, want to think outside the box. Because if, at the end of the day, we have about 50 million poor people, or, very poor people in Nigeria that you want to distribute these funds to. So it simply means by the time you do the calculation, each person is getting about, as if we're using 4 per home, per household. Each person is getting about 3,600 naira per month. So how far can that go? That's number one. Number two, by the time you do the entire calculation, if we continue this program for another 10 months, you're going to distribute as much as 1.8 trillion naira. Are there things we can actually use this money for that will be more effective and benefit the poor more? Because if someone gets 3,600 naira, in 2 days, the person can actually spend the money. But if I have a way of communicating with my people, yes, I know things are hard, but give me the next 10 months. A, B, C, D, I'm going to use this 1.8 trillion naira to deliver on certain things. I think it will go a long way. So I think that should be like I said, if you do the maths, it begins to give you, other options, how to think outside the box. But nevertheless, they say who's the people who are there who actually feel these things the more, they might just want this this little meal given to them, and they will be fine with it. So what we're discussing now, how will these funds get to them? Technology will help. If we have a well-detailed, structured monitoring and evaluation system, these things can actually work. And then at the end of the day, again, the accountability, you don't expect people to do the right thing. You make people do the right thing. So create a system that will make people do the right thing.
Okay, Jalo, okay. I know you said quite a lot about what the government should do. But then again, there are other plans in the offing. There are also the CNG buses and electric buses that they are also be out, supporting the MSME, the agri-sector. The government has said they're going to, do all of that. And of course, our refinery that we are hoping very soon will also, be ready. So all that too will help to ease the effect of this fuel subsidy removal. What do you think?
Nkera, you see, the issue is you are a government staff. You are economically reducing the right thing for you to tell the citizen. You have heard what the citizens are saying, and they have quoted me 2 or 3 times. The point is, how can you take 5 billion and give it to a state in NEC without sitting to tell us, Mr. State, Governors Forum, where the governor chairman, tell us how can you utilize these funds so that we can have a timetable to tell our Nigerians. At least it will take a credit to the president. For example, let me just tell you, in Kera, my governor gave me an assignment. I'm the chairman of distributing fertilizer in Gombe State now. He has done the turntable. I said, I have my innovation. My innovation, he said, what are your innovations? I said, I'm going to use AMS, I'm going to use villages, if I'm in the southeast, I will now take the leadership. I will bring a presentation, which if you get me doing something wrong, I will be held responsible. But for the NEC to sit down, to dash this money, without telling Nigerians how each and every state will use it, so that it can successfully reach what the government wants, where the government wants it to reach.
Did you say dash? No, it's not really that, because 52% of it is a grant. Now, 48% of it is a kind of a loan, which will be repaid back to the CBN. So it's not really...
So the question is, since it is a grant, isn't it?
52%.
The 52. You see, you know, I believe your age has reached that time when government was giving grant to cooperative societies, and it is getting impact in the country. So my argument here is, when you are doing a program of this nature, involving this huge sum amount of money, forgetting to repair the refinery with the money, this money, if accumulated, is about $20 million, which you cannot promise that I am going to repair the refinery is by December, while you have money that you can use it to alleviate the suffering of Nigerians now. Our quarrel is people are dying, and there is a money in the coffers.
Okay, which is why the palliative is there in the first place. That's why
what I'm saying, we are not arguing the palliative.
No.
But since the palliative is to push out the problem, the suffering of Nigerians, isn't it? So it must be done in a proper way. We are now trying to say, okay, let's caution the difficulties.
Okay, Abdullahi, I will allow Gwenda to come in there. In your opinion, how timely is this intervention?
Every intervention is needed from the first day the subsidy was removed. I mean, that would have been the first moment that we should hit it off. But nevertheless, we needed to accrue some of these funds, because I mean, you have to calculate, if you remove subsidy, those savings, it becomes an accruance, which is now what we are planning on how to redistribute to the system. So I mean, it's timely. We have to move at it. And we need to get the people to understand, and I mean, the states at the NEC level will not be telling us. They should go back to their states and tell the state what plans they have, if you ask me. And then again, Alaj, when we talk about this refinery, sometimes, we need to do a proper diagnosis of what has happened with those refineries.
But just before you continue, money has been set aside for the refinery, for fixing the refinery.
Yeah,
so continue.
So, but I mean, the work that needs to go into the refinery, just like, 404. The car, that Peugeot 404. It's just like you're trying to turn Peugeot 404 to a 2003 or 2023 model.
Like a Ferrari.
It's a very difficult task, really. Yes, you have some of those infrastructure. I was part of the team that bought over LMA Petrochemicals. I know how much it took to revamp the place to get it running. It's not that it's impossible, but I mean, people need to understand that it's not that quick. It's not something, because some of the pipes are all rusty. You need to remove, and if replace them. Some of the distillers are not working anymore. You need to fire them back again, and some of them you need to, and some of the equipment, the people that manufacture them, they don't exist anymore. So there are new technologies that you need to replace them with. So there's a lot that goes on there. So I'm not trying to hold brief for the NNPC, but these are things they should have told Nigerians ever since, that these things are not just things that you can do overnight. walk into a shop, get something from the shelf and replace.
Thank you.
Not that.
Thank you so much. Well, I really wish we had more time, but that's why we draw the curtains for today. But before we go, we'll appreciate our guests. I want to appreciate Abdullahi Jallo, a lawyer and a public affairs analyst. Thank you so much for your time and your contribution. And also, I want to give a very big thank you to Ogbono Okuku, an investment and economic development expert. Thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure being here. And
to my viewer, thank you for always being a part of this. Don't forget, Nigeria Today airs every weekday by 7:30 p.m. on NTA News 24. You can watch this and other episodes on www.youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. Once again, thank you for watching. I am Eukaria Clinton. See you next week.